Hi, this is Billie Beene with a flash update. Texas banks downgraded. Is our money safe? And the French Special Forces versus Niger National Guard. Shots have been fired. So some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot Subscriber, War News 24/7, Hal Turner, and BPEarthwatch. First, we'll cover the banks. So we've heard in the last few days that Fitch, a rating group, downgraded the U.S. government from AAA to AA. And then today we heard about 10 banks downgraded plus 21 on a watch list. Well, I've come across this information and it covers 3 Texas banks. Cullen Frost, based in San Antonio, Amarillo National, based in Amarillo, and Prosperity, based in Houston. Prosperity, I know, that's actually where I bank. There have a lot of locations inside Texas and Oklahoma. So all of these are primarily Texas banks. Now, let me give you some information. The Amarillo National Bank is a privately owned bank owned by the Ware family. And we have the Cullen Frost is a bank holding company. And Prosperity is also a bank holding company. It's just different categories of banks. Now, I checked all of these banks, and all of them carry FDIC government insurance. And what does that cover? I'll show you. So one of these has been downgraded, and several of them are on a review list. I know I saw some of these listed several months ago, and I looked at a list of holders of derivatives. That was one of the criteria. So, but your money in these banks is safe if it's safe up to $250,000 per individual per bank. Now, we saw when we initially had several large banks, Signature and Silicon in California, fail, that Janet Yellen said the government would cover all deposits for all depositors of any amount at these banks. So I haven't heard a statement yet regarding the banks that have currently been downgraded are under review, but perhaps their category is different than Silicon. Actually totally failed and was taken over by another bank, as was Signature and a third bank at that time. But, you know, sources say that Janet Yellen has already been fired. But for most of us, $250,000 per account per bank would cover us. So that's going on. I wanted to let the people in Texas know about the banks. And now we'll cover a little bit about shots being fired. This is inside Africa. And we know yesterday, Victoria Nuland, ECOWAS, an African group of nations in this area. Here's Niger. And the UN were expelled from Niger, and they did not meet with the deposed Bazoum. And then what happened today, and we know Niger closed their border and their airspace. And now we have this. We have 25,000 troops ready to invade Niger. And these troops are from some of the nations from Nigeria, and from some other African nations. BPEarthwatch is in here. So Nigeria is right here. BPEarthwatch, small nation. We have Libya up here in Africa. And we have information about France invading plane coming into Niger, and they were trying to go to the capital. They're being repelled, but they did. French special forces did come into a part of Niger today. They did engage the Niger National Guard. We don't have, there was a gunfire. We don't have any information about deaths or wounded. But they did, the French did release 16 saboteurs who had been trained by NATO and had penetrated into Niger. So the French went in and released these saboteurs, and that happened today. Now, we understand that in the capital, there are also the Russian Wagner group, and they are armed with manpads, which is some type of missile launcher you can carry that'll take down planes. They have been instructed by Russia to fire at will and take down the French planes. The U.S. Embassy in Niger, instructions from the U.S. government is shelter in place. And a joint statement by Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, who will combine their militaries to fight against NATO and other African nations. We suffered for 10 years while NATO was fighting Libya. We will not allow this to happen again. So that's going on. So this concludes my flash update. And it's good to remember God is in charge and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.